camera stops, you can see the difference in a very drastic way. We will not have that problem because we adopted it early on. And a lot of the parts of our corridor and parts of our land use plan have been adopted by other cities and looked at and, for that. It's not intended to hamper owners. They can still do anything with their land, but it will preserve the look and integrity of the town.
Thank you. Thank you. That same question goes to you.
Okay. I worked on both of the land use things we've had and tried to reach agreements for the better of the town, the beauty of the town, and I think we've done a pretty good job on it. We still have more work to be done, but I feel like, there's so much to be done, and I do listen to the people. I don't know whether any of you would say differently or not, but I do. I search into things, I pray about things, and I really am concerned about all the issues that are brought up.
Thank you. Excuse me just a moment. Okay. Theron. In recent years, 4 council members have resigned for various reasons. While the method and time period for replacing these council members is currently at council's discretion, do you think there should be written and publicized policies in place to address how to handle these situations? And if so, what would you want to see included in these policies?
Well, first off, my understanding is, number one, that you have to follow state statute, however you develop a plan and policy for that type of situation. Number two, the council has stated that they do have a policy which has been used in the past, and that's the way that they've last, I guess, as you said, four different council people leaving that time spread. They utilize that type of situation to appoint a new person. As far as written policies go, we can put anything that we need to put on paper. The issue there is to make sure that you're consistent in following them and that everybody's treated fairly, and that would include the citizens and their right to be inclusive in that decision if that's the way the policy was written.
Thank you. And Frank, that same question goes to you.
I'm not sure of all the legalities that might go into, coming up with a policy like that. I think more, common sense approach would be, especially in the situation we just had, is take the person who had the highest amount of votes from the last election. That's basically who the people were voting for. So if you've got someone who wants to leave the council and you've got someone who was second, just missed out on getting on the council, put them on. That kind of shows that you're listening to who the people wanted to be on the council.
Thank you. And Mickey, that same question is to you.
Well, I feel like when this happens, that leaves 4 members. You need the 5th member to be on there to help make decisions, and the person that we chose, we all agreed on, and he had been there before, had served, and we felt like at this time, with the election comes so many things going on, we needed somebody experienced.
Okay. I'm rarely going to do this, but once in a while I am just going to remind you or offer to repeat the question again. This wasn't about a specific situation. We were really addressing more that there were 4 situations in a couple of years. We were not pinpointing the most recent one, so I just want to make sure that you know that. And if I do need to repeat that question to you, Randy, that is coming to you.
Okay. And the time that I've been there, what we've tried to do is, one, look at the people available, willing to serve. We've also looked at who was the highest vote getter in the last election, the council members. On an individual situation, we'll discuss that. But what we've looked at is, one, what are the needs of the council, what's the needs of the people at the time, what issues do we have coming up, who's going to be the most experienced person, and who can we get a majority vote. A lot of times, I think for the council to work effectively, it needs to be someone that they can all agree on And that's what we've always strived to do. You'll notice all of our votes have been a unanimous vote when we've chosen someone. That doesn't mean that we haven't discussed others. The other thing is, while the policy would be good, it's unenforceable. The state statute says the council will choose. That would be opposed to state statute to have a policy that would conflict with that. You'd have a conflict of laws, and I don't think you could enforce it if a council member decided not to follow that. But we try to look at those issues, who's been the last in, and look at it from a broad perspective before we make a decision.
Okay, thank you. Frank, this question is to you. Some feel certain businesses in town are undesirable, such as tattoo parlors and gambling. What do you think about these businesses, and what do you think could be done to stop undesirable businesses for locating here?
Yeah, undesirable is kind of a random word, to tell you the truth. It really, it comes down to, this is a small town. It's got that nice small town feel to it. There's a lot of families in this town. It's listening to the people and what they want in the town. Again, I'm not sure the legality of how you do it, but I'm sure there's ordinances and ways that you can, stop certain businesses from being in town. I don't think we want to see a bunch of, tattoo parlors or, if you get a liquor by the drink boat, a bunch of strip clubs. And I think that the council, has ways that they can, through ordinances, stop those businesses from being put in town. Again, saying undesirable is really, that's someone's own opinion of what's undesirable, but I think if you, talk to the people of the town, you can get a pretty good feel of what they're looking for and try and do what they want you to do.
Thank you. And Mickey, I'm going to ask that same question to you.
Well, I don't think that we're going to have all that undesirable places like gay bars and strip bars or whatever you want to call it. I just don't feel like that's going to happen. Oak Ridge and Summerfield both have written little pieces in the paper saying it hadn't happened to them, and they've had no trouble from, having liquor by the drink. And I still say I'm not advocating the vote, but I still do not see that big a problem because I feel like we've still got say over what can happen and what doesn't. For the zoning and that sort of thing.
And Theron, that same question.
Well, I agree with Frank. Ordinances to enforce. The town does have ordinances. You have a planning board process to go through for approval or denial of the plan. You then have the town council who has the final vote in a lot of those circumstances. The town would have to utilize what it has in place to enforce the availability or lack of availability for new businesses of certain types coming in. Desirable or undesirable is very subjective. There are existing businesses here that to my knowledge, have not created a large amount of problem in the downtown area. And if someone wants a tattoo or wants whatever they want and it's already existing at that point and it's not an illegal activity, and the business can support itself, you don't have to have 15 in one block, but you can work with the existing businesses in town.
Okay. Well, gambling's illegal in this state if it is truly gambling. So if you get the name to our town deputy, we can put closure on that one and make it fairly imminent. As for other types of things that people may determine are undesirable, there are a lot of things that we would not like to have here. I dealt with this issue a lot when I was police attorney for the city of High Point, and what the U.S. Supreme Court has said and what the Constitution says, you can't outlaw them. That's freedom of speech. It's freedom of right to use their property, but you can zone them either into one specific area or set requirements of that. In our town, one of our zoning ordinances says that certain places can't be within 1,000 feet of a church or school. And if you look around at where we have so many churches and their location in private schools, it makes it very hard to locate some of what most people consider an undesirable business in this town. Plus, I don't think there's a lot of patronage for those types of places. So, but you have to deal with it in zoning. You can't outlaw it, but you can restrict it.
Thank you. The next question goes to Mickey. Mickey, what will the council do, or what do you think the council could do to attract and facilitate new businesses to come and establish in